Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Karen Kuzia Phillips. C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, over 100 on-the-job training staffers have been given termination letters, and the Representing Communication Workers Union is threatening to take the matter to the Industrial Court if the Ministry of Labour does not address this. The OJT staffers are responsible for sending out OJT trainees to the different areas. The President General of the Union, John Julian, explained the workers were originally employed under the National Training Agency. However, when the government changed in 2015, the NTA was moved to the Ministry of Education, but the OJT section went under the Ministry of Labour.
And during that time, they were all told that they are trying to reorganize to make people permanent. Nobody's going to lose their jobs. And then in February, they held a meeting and they were told that they were only going to keep 60 persons out of the almost 119. And then on April the 11th, 2017, they all got letters telling them that everybody will be sent home. And some persons are going to be paid for the remainder of their contract.
He said those who did not get contracts from 2016 were told their only service would have been from when their last contract ended until May 31st. He said on May 19th, the union wrote the Minister of Labour, and to date they have not received a response. He went on to say the government is using restructuring in several state enterprises to send workers home.
And in this case, there has been no retraining. There has been no redeployment. There has been no paying out for the remainder of what we would have considered for some person. The fact that you did not give me a written contract does not mean that I do not have service with the organization. So there's a big disparity in relation to some persons working there for 8 years, going home with $15,000, and somebody who is working there for 3 years, going home with after tax of about $168,000.
Well, the Ministry of Labour has confirmed 160 members of staff of the OJT program will receive severance payments today. It said this is the final phase in the restructuring of the OJT program. The ministry noted the realigned OJT program, which will begin on May 31st, 2017, sees a new streamlined organizational structure that removes the duplication in several support unit areas at both the ministry and the OJT program. It said recruitment for staff for the restructured OJT program was conducted over a 3-month period. Of the 40 persons on contract in the new organizational structure, 20 of these posts are being filled by persons who were previously employed with the OJT program. The ministry assured trainees on the OJT program can be assured of the continuity of the OJT program. The local government representative for Enterprise does not expect the murder of a man in the area to reignite the violence which has plagued the community for several months. On Sunday afternoon, 40-year-old Joey Bazdeo was driving out of his Ruben Lane home with his wife and daughter when a man on a bicycle opened fire on them. Bazdeo, the owner of Joey and Laura Wholesales, was fatally hit while his daughter was grazed. C News spoke with Councillor Lisa Holder this morning, who said there are better days to come in the community despite this killing.
Alongside myself as the councillor and the Village Council, Enterprise, Community Council, and we're working together as a team to assist where we can. We're not just focusing on what happened, but we are also trying to give counseling and to restore some sort of peace and calm to the area as well as to the victims, that going through this at this time.
She said to deal with the violence, sport has been reintroduced into the community.
We're involved with the Police Youth Club, cricket, football every weekend. This weekend we had a boxing competition with the Olympic guys. So we are working with the community and the parents and the children. So it's quiet.
This is the C News Live Report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtv.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. The Chaguanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce is agreeing business owners should be given licensed firearms to protect themselves. Its President Vishnu Charan says the way things are going in this country, people need to find some way to protect themselves.
The long process of getting firearms and all the bureaucracy that you have to go through. Things really need to change. So the system needs to be looked at and see how we could change and make it easier for people to acquire the required license and whatever checks and balances and background checks and so on that has to be made to assist some of these people that want to get things firearms to protect themselves.
The Cunupia Chamber recently renewed a call for this in light of the murder of several business people. And the San Juan Business Association is also supporting the call for the process to be made easier for business people to get firearms. Its president, Vivek Charan, said it seems as though the tables have turned in favor of the criminals, as it's easy for them to get illegal guns. He believes if they know a business has a gun, it will decrease the likelihood of them wanting to commit a crime there.
When we take security people, personnel, many of these businesses do not have armed security in their stores. So if they are held up at gunpoint or somebody comes in with a gun, there's very little that these security people can do. The second thing is that one of the other measures that we have is everyone has CCTV cameras.
Yeah.
However, the criminals have gone a step above that now when everybody's coming in mass.
He said the process of getting licensed firearms has almost stopped and a change in regulation may be needed.
But the situation as it stands at the moment is that no one is getting firearm license, right? So really what should happen is that there should be let's say a rehaul, and that they should look at the current process of applying for firearms license.
To other news now, more of our residents continue to protest, calling for an upgrade to their infrastructure as well as jobs for people in the area. This morning, the protest was cut short when police arrived at Lady Young Road. However, we understand at around 11 o'clock, the action restarted. Now, this is not the first time these residents protested. They recently held a demonstration calling for help. They had burnt tires and blocked the roads. The Member of Parliament, Adrian Leonce, had promised help for the residents. However, according to them, nothing has been done. CNews was told the MP did meet with some of the protesting residents since then. However, the real issues were not addressed. Director at the Center for Human Development, Hanif Benjamin, says the number of protests taking place across the country is cause for concern. He says while some may be politically motivated, others may be genuine, but he wants people to understand the current economic situation.
Difficulties. And I don't think to the large extent that people understand exactly where we are. And people don't understand what that means for Trinidad and Tobago. We call for things, and we should demand things. We should demand our basic rights. However, I am not sure if all of Trinidad and Tobago fully conceptualize where we are as a society.
However, he said the timing of such actions may be ill-timed, ill-placed, or people may be lacking in understanding.
So the authorities need to now be a lot clearer in how they communicate with the common man. Because you see, Ria, when a society is in peril like we are in right now, when we are dealing with difficulties all throughout history, it has shown us that the people on the lower end of the food chain are the ones who suffer the most.
Now for the weather forecast. Occasionally cloudy spells accompanied by light to moderate showers are expected to interrupt otherwise warm and hazy conditions. A few showers may become heavy and thundery during the afternoon. A few showers are expected to linger into tonight. Seas are slight to normal, waves 1.4 to 2 meters in open waters, below 1 meter in sheltered areas. Vendors at the Arima market were upset this morning when they showed up for work today to find one of the entrances to the facility closed. We spoke to one vendor, Vashti Jagasa, who said this is not the first time this is happening.
Last year, around the same time, where we used to sell in the open market, the movers there, they put fish to give you a spot inside the market. So while we're selling, now, they come now in the market. So I can come without an explanation and lock the gate, the main entrance to come in where customers are walking, where we buying, where they buying, where we selling, to come in, they'll come and lock the main gate there without an explanation.
She said it's causing her and other vendors to lose out on sales for the day.
It will be very much, because I do sales and make good money here. I just sell plenty good, I have plenty customers in the market here because I sell here 32 years now. So by that gate, I losing plenty sales.
And CNews contacted the Arima Borough Corporation and was told the gate was locked by the Inspector of Municipal Police. This was done because there is said to be a lot of illegal vending taking place, and this measure is aimed at cracking down on it. The mayor has expressed support for the move. Lawrence Dupre may be looking to regain control of CL Financial, the company he once headed. This from Afra Raymond, who said he was made aware of a discussion on this about 1 week ago.
That legal advisors team had written to the Minister of Finance and issued, I suppose the word is an ultimatum, and requesting or ordering the Minister of Finance to remove the state-appointed directors on the board of CL Financial. There are 4 of them, and that's the majority of the board is appointed by the state.
Right.
And effectively, if they were to do that, to hand over control of the company to Mr. Dupre, because Mr. Dupre has certain directors on the board already.
However, he is not sure that this is possible.
But there are a lot of nuances to the matter. For instance, the entire appointment of state directors to the board is under the ambit of a shareholders agreement, the first one of which was signed on the 12th of June 2009, and apparently the latest shareholders agreement has expired. It hasn't been renewed. So that is really a question. Are they still within their rights?
Switching gears now, opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar says as the country faces new challenges, we can look to our ancestors for inspiration to overcome them through determination, resolve, and by working together. In her Indian Arrival Day message, she said the celebration not only gives persons of Indian origin an opportunity to reflect on the journey of their ancestors, but for people of other origins, it provides an opportunity to reflect upon the journey and history of their own forefathers. She noted it's important to examine our histories so that each of us can gain a better understanding of the impact of our forefathers' efforts in building our nation. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar said Trinidad and Tobago is a richer society today as a result of the invaluable contributions the East Indian immigrants and the descendants of all immigrants have made to the national development and in shaping a tapestry of cultures, traditions, and belief systems. Well, over the past few days, a special workshop has been taking place with a focus on passing along Indo-Trinidadian musical traditions. CNews captured the opening session of that workshop with the focus on classical singing. Peter Christopher tells us more.
Rooted in East Indian tradition, classical singing has been a part of Trinidad and Tobago's culture from the time the Fatal Razak came to our shores. But what exactly is classical singing?
In Trinidad, it is commonly referred to as local classical singing or ten singing. In Guyana, it is known as tan singing, while in Suriname, it is described as baita Ghana. They all came with varying degrees of knowledge of the art of singing, which they intermingled among themselves, and what evolved from the melting pot is what can be referred to as the origin of local classical singing in Trinidad and Tobago.
A legendary musician, Mangal Patisar, also shared his knowledge on the topic and explained that song held great importance to many.
Songs have various functions. One might be in praise of the Almighty, which we call bhajan. One might be in love, about love and themes like that, where we sing like ghazals and tumreeds. And some of them are commentaries on society and commentary on the fields and the whatever occupations we have.
Patisar then detailed the various patterns involved in creating such songs.
We build patterns so that you will be able to recognize. If I say, you must be able to know right away where the sa is. Ga, sa, ga. So you must know where sa is, where ga is. So you can create a lanka, sa sa de de ga ga ma ma, like that, or sa de ga ma, or sa ga de ma ga, like that. So that is the pattern that you have to practice.
This workshop on Indian classical music was part of a 5-day workshop hosted by Lockgate Vikas entitled Maintaining and Developing Indian Musical Traditions. The 5-day workshop ends on Monday with a performance day for the participants. Peter Christopher, C News.
Coming up in sport, we tell you about preparations for the 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. Well, the countdown to the 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games is well and truly on, as the forerunner, the Queen's Baton, makes its round through all Commonwealth nations leading up to the big event next year. And Trinidad and Tobago is no exception. And among those taking part in the historic Queen's Baton Relay event this morning was former national cyclist and double gold medalist from the 1966 Commonwealth Games, Roger Gibbon, who is still a major attraction locally. He was joined by a host of national athletes, including boxers, many of whom are hoping to be in the national contingent to the Games next year in Australia. There were also a host of other locals who got the opportunity to run, walk and ride with the baton, which just adds to the anticipation of the upcoming Games, where Team TTO will be represented and has a rich history of success over the years. CTV will have an extended highlight package of this morning's proceedings, so you can look out for that in the morning. While South Zone continued to stamp their dominance on national cricket when their under-17s defeated their North counterparts in a trial match to select the TNT squad for the upcoming regional tournament. Batting first, North were dismissed for 173 in 39.1 overs in a day-night fixture at the National Cricket Centre in Couva. Opening batsman Leonardo Julian top-scored with a well-played 72, followed by his namesake Leonardo Francis, who made 24. Jaden Seals was the best bowler for South, taking 3 for 37 in 9 overs, while Nicholas Ali took 2 for 21. Mbeki Joseph was the top scorer for South, with a man-of-the-match performance of 54 from 38 balls, and Tariq Mohammed with 42 as South raced to the total. This pair posted a 91-run partnership in taking their team to 175 for 7 in just 24.1 overs to add another title to their 2017 season. Bowling for the North Zone, Samir Ali had the best figures of 3 for 31. While local swimmer Dylan Carter bagged a second silver medal while competing for his Southern Cal University at the prestigious Novaquatics Speedo Grand Challenge in Irvine, California over the weekend. The 21-year-old Trini copped his first silver when he touched second to his Southern Cal teammate Christian Quintero in 1 minute 49.12 seconds in the men's 200 meters freestyle final on Friday night. Quintero won with a time of 1 minute 48.77 seconds. Then 24 hours later, Carter was back in the pool in another final, this time the 100 meters butterfly. But again, he had to settle for second, this time to Auburn University's Louis Martinez, who out-touched him in 53.51 seconds, while Carter was a fraction of a second slower in 53.87 seconds. Well, that's it for sport. And that's how we end our C News report at noon. I'm Karen Kozier-Phillip. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, you can visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Do have a good afternoon.